Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
Excellent jam, Wave.
Yo, apply. Yo, luta do dede. Luta mo nulo jël moto nga andil ma xaalis. Hello?
Bisul mu fine.
What?
Bisul mu fine.
Oh, yes!
Wave Axina Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. At Wave. Bisul mu fine? Wave. Your money is yours.
Thursday, the 16th of October, 2025. Welcome back to Coffee Time with Peter Gomez. And now we shift gears to the rising wave of political renewal. Because joining me for the next 1 hour is Kemo Bojang, spokesperson for the Unite Movement for Change. This is the new political force led by Talib Ahmed Bensouda, the mayor of the Kanifing municipality. And we intend over the next 60 minutes or so to explore UMC's grassroots strategy, youth movement, and vision for the Gambia's future. And hopefully, Mr. Bojang will walk us through what makes UMC different and why he and others in the movement believe it's capturing attention across the country. Kemo, thanks for joining us for the next 1 hour. You used to be a prominent youth in the United Democratic Party, once touted as the Gambia's biggest, not just opposition, biggest party. Now you're with the UMC. What's the inspiration?
It's a pleasure to be here, Uncle Peter. Thank you for having me. It's always wonderful to come around and speak to Gambians. We believe in an open and transparent society where people share information and people get informed about the happenings of their time. And like you mentioned, my name is Kemo Bojang, currently the spokesperson of the UMC, which is the Unite Movement for Change, a new movement that is set out to bring inclusive and possible change to the Gambian people. A people-centered movement, which is born out of the idea of changing Gambia's politics. And like you mentioned, I used to be a member of the UDP. I started very early with the party, from my ward to the constituency in Bakau and all the way to the national level. I became a national executive member of the UDP when I was 21 years old. So you could say that I grew up in the party politically. But like I mentioned, we found it necessary to build a people-centered movement, a movement that encompasses all social divides, a movement that harnesses the demographic dividend of the country, which is to bring people together where they can share ideas and come up with possible people-centered solutions. The movement is led by Talib Ahmed Bensouda, who is currently the mayor of Kanifing Municipal Council, and we as members of the movement, founding members, are pushing forward to see how best we can, make the movement a household name.
The arguments about inclusivity you make, as aspirational, hence your exit from the UDP, are arguments that are made by the UDP consistently, that they are an all-inclusive party. You'll find Manjagos in the UDP, you'll find Bainunkas in the UDP, Sarahules, Jolas, Fullers, everybody.
Yes, so it's not about an inclusive party, I'll say, but national inclusivity, in my opinion. And we feel that politics has to change in the country's perception, considering that since 2017 or so, our politics has become very toxic, where it's always been about character assassination, it's always been about insults, it's always been about driven by personality issues. And we feel that as young people, and considering the dynamics of the country at a certain period of time, it is important that we come up with a solution. And that solution is to come up with a movement or an umbrella where every Gambian feels that they belong, and every Gambian feels that it is a solution to the issues faced by the people.
What has been the most inspiring moment for you since joining the UMC?
One of the inspiring moments is being able to register 30,000 people in 3 weeks. That for me has really been outstanding.
You never saw something like that while you were in the UDP?
Yes, per se, because we know the UDP is a mass party, and but database, for example, has been an issue. And nobody, for example, in the political sphere in this country can tell you that my party has this number of people. I think this is unprecedented that we are the first party that is working on grassroots mobilization and grassroots registration to work with data. We are people who are very driven by data. We understand that perceptions and opinions matter in politics. This is why we are taking data very seriously and giving us a number of registered people, even though this doesn't necessarily mean that it will translate into votes, but it tells us that there's acceptance and there's cohesion within the political system that the movement is indeed an alternative. And this is what we want to create. We want to create an alternative between what is the reality today and what can be the reality tomorrow, which is to have a people-centered movement, to have a people-centered governance system where the wishes and aspirations of the Gambian people will be central and not based on personalities.
Mm-hmm. What is the inspiration of the formation of the party, if not Talib's exit from the UDP?
The movement, like I mentioned, is born out of an urgent necessity, which is between failed politics and coming up with a politics that works for the people. And like I mentioned, I wouldn't say anything. I keep on saying this. I wouldn't say anything as a politician that you haven't heard before. But what would make me stand out is that how do I carry through with what I have said? And politics in the Gambia has really been driven to the ground. We want to come up with new politics. We want to come up with a collective identity, a national identity that runs through our political system. You go to China, for example, they have Chinese communism with Chinese characteristics. Why can't Gambia have Gambian democracy with Gambian characteristics? And these are some of the things that we want to build. These are things that we want to come up with, where Gambians see themselves in the governance process, where Gambians feel that they have a voice and they are represented, especially when you look at the young people. There's a lot of disenfranchisement when it comes to politics in the country. It's out of loss of hope. It's out of the idea that they do not trust the political class anymore. What we are doing today is building an alternative for these constituents to make sure that they understand that they're important, they are involved, and they are centered. Yeah.
So what are the core values and long-term vision of the UMC?
Our core values is to unite for purpose. We feel that we are one Gambia and we are one people. And it is important that we sell that message to the general populace. I keep saying this a lot of times, and maybe it has become monotonous, but I keep asking people, what does it mean to be Gambian? And really, there's nothing particular or there's nothing identity-based that you can define as something that drives you towards nationalism. Instead, I do understand that politics is identity, but because we never really built nation-states after independence or post-colonial Africa, not just Gambia, never really built nation-states. So what we want to do is to build a state that reflects the wishes and aspirations of the people, but that can only be done through a united front, through a united people who would see that their government works for them and the people, feel hopeful in the system that is in place.
Yeah, people would say, well, this government is working for them. I mean, if you go to URR, for instance, and compare the Barrow administration to the two previous ones, before it, they would say, look, we are happy with this government.
But that is the problem. When you went to Fonyi during Yahya Jammeh's tenure, it would have been the same answer, but it doesn't reflect the vision or the view of the Gambian people. And this is the same issue we are facing today. We can't have governance based on regionalism. We must be able to have governance based on a national perception, where the whole country feels that, yes, indeed, this government is working for me, and the solutions preferred by this government reflects and enhances my life, and I am able to live a dignified livelihood.
Okay. And what's been the response of people to the emergence of UMC?
Fantastic. Every single day we get multiples of calls, especially considering that I am the only visible appointed or elected leader of the movement. I had to get a new phone because my phone couldn't handle the phone calls. And like I mentioned, people have continued to register through the links that we've shared. Currently, we have over 30,000 registered members, and our teams are currently crisscrossing the length and breadth of this country, sharing the message. And people believe that there need to be conversations about change, but also viable change. And we are glad that the Gambian people are very receptive. And be the older generation, the younger generation, men, women, across economic and social divides, people have taken it upon themselves to see themselves as part of the movement. And like we mentioned, it's a people movement. It's a ground to the top movement, and it's a movement that reflects the daily aspirations of the Gambian people. Yeah,
but what you see is mainly young people who are coming on board. Do you think there's a place in the UMC for older persons like myself?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think during our first initial mobilizers meeting at Edwin Theatre, in fact, most of the speakers were older people. But it's also just normal that in a country where the population is 70% young people, any group of people, there will be majority young people. And this, it cuts across the board. So it's not necessarily a young people's movement. It's a movement for the Gambian people.
And where are you, drawing your membership from? From your old party? It's only natural that, coming from, an established party, when you want to establish, you want people who already know the terrain, if you like, to come along with you.
Surprisingly, we are not really focused on getting people from our former party.
UDP?
Yes, UDP. Granted, the people that we worked with who understand and acknowledge our proven track records, and when we made the move, they followed us through because they believe that we are the people that can usher in the country that they want. But our membership cuts across the board, and there's a misconception in Gambian politics. I keep on saying that majority of Gambians are not politically aligned. Majority of Gambians, maybe out of the room here, I am the only one who is a subscriber of a political party or a movement. Naturally, Gambians are people that are laid back, will wait until election day or a week before election and make a decision. They are not the people that will go to rallies. They are not the people that are politically engaged, but they make conscious decisions come election day. So to think that the people you see at meetings or the people that come out when you call are your base becomes a misconception. And I think for a lot of political parties in the Gambia, that has become a misconception they face. We had almost 900,000 registered, over 900,000 registered voters in 2021. Our perception is that we are going to have at least 1.2 million people who would be eligible to vote in 2026. Now, that's an increase of almost 300,000 people. A majority of those people are first-time voters. How do you engage these first-time voters, and how do you get them to ascribe to your ideology, or how do you get them to ascribe to your belief? You spread your tentacles, you go after everyone. You do not perceive who is UDP, NPP. You try to get votes, you try to sell a message, because politics is marketing, I say. And the product we have is the UMC, and we sell that product to the Gambian people, and the Gambian people are buying that product. So our areas of focus are not just from people from our former party, but naturally Gambians in general.
So for now, it's a movement. It's not officially registered yet as a political party.
Yes, it is not yet officially, but we are working towards that, and we hope by December 2025 we will become a political party. So we are morphing into a political party.
With the aim of contesting the 2026 election.
Absolutely.
So what's your strategy heading into 2026 then?
Our strategy is an in-house discussion we're having. In politics, it's like your tactics in football. You don't tell your opponents that this is your tactic that you're going into an election with. But what we want to do is to make sure that we provide a national conversation which is practical and developmentally oriented, where issues of Gambian people are seen as being put as a priority, and not focusing on selling a candidate, but rather solving issues of the Gambian people. And issues that, for example, we have spoken about have been a lot, but most importantly for women and young people. Many Gambians feel politically homeless, like I mentioned, and they do not feel that they have a choice, because it has always been the big two we have had in the country. It has always been APRC or UDP, or now NPP and UDP.
Oh, so APRC has morphed into insignificance?
Not insignificance, but when you look at the numbers that they have provided in the past elections, especially the past 4 elections, the two big political parties now currently in the country are NPP and UDP. based on numbers and based on elective positions. So young people, or generally Gambians, are looking for an alternative, and we want to provide that alternative. And maybe you would say that our strategy is to get as many people to register to vote, and to get as many people to become members of our movement, and to make sure that on election day they come out and vote for us massively.
What does becoming a membership, entail? And how does one become a member in the first place?
So just be a Gambian that wants to see change, and that advocates for a system that rewards competence, over connections, and also merit. And be someone who aims to strengthen institutions and economic, and see the Gambia's economic growth. Generally, just be a Gambian that wishes well for the country. That being said, also, we have two ways of becoming members. Becoming a member. One is that to register through our link, which a lot of younger people are doing. The younger generation has, the Gen Zs and the millennials are registering through the link. But we also have teams in the regions. Myself, I've been going door to door, registering people, especially people who don't have the time to get on the link. So we are doing all. We are going to houses, we are going to communities, we are going to villages everywhere, and we are also asking people to register online. Yeah. So
okay. And you're expecting, or you're projecting, that another 300,000, voters would be added to the
voter roll.
To the voter roll.
Yeah.
These would be first-time voters.
Majority.
How do you intend to engage them? If they were not there,
yes.
They are definitely first-time voters.
Yes. Yeah. So I don't want to say everything on here, but we have plans on how to engage young people, and I believe a lot of young people see themselves as part of the movement already, and this is why I mentioned that majority of the people that have registered are young people. But generally, like I said, in a country where almost 70% are youth or young people, it is natural that any organization will have majority young people. But again, we want to target them through the schools, through the football teams, through community-based groups, and see how best do we engage them. Because we've had a problem in Gambia where, and not just Gambia, it's just generally globally, where young people do not have or suffer from political apathy. And it has really affected the governance systems that we are faced with, because policies are important, and because these policies made today are going to reflect our lives or affect our lives in coming years. It's important that we take an active role in it. For example, you look at the 1997 Constitution that was passed 28 years ago, it's still affecting the lives of every young person today. So it is important that we take part in the decision-making processes, and this is what we are selling to the Gambian people, especially young people. And
what role does grassroots mobilization? People out there in the provinces, they are used to people going to them, and canvassing for their votes. What role does this play in your mobilization?
It is in fact the major role, and in fact we have started that since Monday. Our teams have been crisscrossing the length and breadth of the country, like I mentioned, selling the message, selling Unite Movement for Change, and Gambians are very receptive of it. Some of the videos I've received of people in the hinterland of the country, and who see and believe that we are the solution to their problems, really has given me hope that indeed change is forthcoming in 2026.
And what's the selling point? Is it the movement leader, or the promise of the movement?
It's the promise of the movement. Like I mentioned, it is not it's not a personalized movement, but it's a movement of purpose. And people believe that we can usher in a true country. And like I mentioned, we have shown, based on track record, that we can deliver, and this is why people have hope and confidence in us. But for me and for all of us, it has never been about personalities, it has never been about Talib Bensouda, it has never been about Kemo Bojang, but it's about the hope and aspirations that Gambians have, and the belief that they have that the movement can usher in the new Gambia that they want, under a united front. Because for us, like I said, uniting the country is our core value, and we hope that Gambians can come under one umbrella to change the dynamics and to change the realities that we are faced with.
In typical fashion, once the emergence of the movement was announced, we started hearing allegations, starting with funding. who was funding this UMC? We heard Lebanese funders, we heard Moroccan funders. What's the association with Morocco and Lebanon, if any?
Absolutely no association, and I have made few public appearances and pronouncements where I dismissed, those positions. And we are a Gambian movement. We are very peculiar about the laws and what the law says, Electoral Act says about foreign funding and foreign interference in our elections. The movement is being funded by Gambians. All of us are putting, our dollars together to change the country. And my friend, there's a friend of mine in Togo. She's a politician in Togo, Farida Naburema. She says political parties are not wedding parties. If a political party doesn't ask you to contribute, then know that the money is coming from somewhere that it isn't supposed to come from. And that is the same position we hold up till today, that we are only able to usher in a new Gambia if there's transparency in the way we acquire funding, and if there's accountability in the funds that we also use. So our funding is mainly Gambian. Our funding is from Gambians from the diaspora who see the movement as a source of change, and Gambians who are in country who believe that we can usher in a new country. Yeah,
but it's unprecedented in in the history of this country for a political party to emerge, a political movement to emerge, and immediately be associated with foreign funding. It's not happened with any other party as far as I know. So what might have been behind these conspiracy theories, if you like?
Unfortunately, the year is 2025, but our people haven't evolved. And I think it comes from a stream of prejudice, unfortunately. I was going to hope that we wouldn't have to come to that or discuss about it.
But this is a platform where, no area is a no-go area unless, personal insults.
Yes, I mean, I think we have heard it from the NPP, from, other people, where because Talib Bensouda, the Lord Mayor of KMC, has a Moroccan heritage that people have branded him Nar, unfortunately, excuse my slur, and other derogatory terms. So it's just a political ploy, and it's a conspiracy by conspiracy theorists to try and dirt our water before we even start to try and associate him with foreigners who are funding his elections. But like I mentioned, we are bona fide Gambians. We are Gambians who believe in the message of one Gambia, and regardless of your heritage and your background, once you are Gambian, you are part of this movement.
Mm-hmm. We've seen the movement engage in, a number of activities, to gain visibility, one of which was the distribution of, 20 motorbikes?
Oh, no, 8.
8 motorbikes,
yeah.
To regional reps. What's the significance of this move?
It's to make connectivity easier and to make more mobilization easier. Like you mentioned, the grassroots is very important, and it's always important to make sure that the grassroots feels that we are getting to them, and these motorcycles will help people in the grassroots to feel that to feel the movement and see the movement in their communities. These bikes were given to our coordinators and our mobilizers on the ground, and like I mentioned just yesterday, like you're saying, a good Gambian donated us an office in Basse. So things like that are what are moving the movement forward. Gambians are coming forward to donate and to see how best they can support this change. So the motorcycles were given the same way to our coordinators, so they are able to crisscross the length and breadth of the country, get people to sign up to the movement, and see how best we can bring in the change we want.
And this office, when you say office, built structure or just land on which to build an office?
No, it's a built structure. It's actually a built structure.
Lucky guys. Yeah.